Which one of us are you?
Spoiler alert! Episode 5 of Loki contained a slew of Easter eggs that drove geeks like myself into a tizzy as we try and pause all throughout the episode to identify them all and decipher what possible meaning lies behind them. In this video, I go over the ones that I was able to uncover and leave it up to you guys to let me know what I've missed. If you haven't watched this latest episode, consider this your warning as you will get spoiled. So let's get to it. Episode 5 gives us a quick reminder of the post-credits scene from Episode 4 where it looks like the new Lokis are standing in a post-apocalyptic version of New York, where you can clearly see in the back the remnants of Stark Tower, which of course became Avengers Tower at one point. We are then flown over what appears to be the ruins of New York City, but we also get a closer look at said tower, which now adorns the name Kang on it. Comic book readers were pleasantly pleased to see this since it's a nod to events that happened in a 2015 Avengers run where Tony Stark sold his tower to Kang Enterprises, whose CEO was none other than Kang the Conqueror himself, who ended up being trapped on Earth in the 21st century. It's a nice reminder that Kang will finally be making his MCU debut and could be the one behind the TVA. We now see shots of what looks like an old pirate ship and a downed UFO that could be a nod to Roswell, New Mexico. The next MCU Easter egg is seen here when the Lokis walk in front of a downed Hydra parasite aircraft that the Red Skull escaped in from Captain America: The First Avenger. The next Easter egg we are treated to is right here where we get to see what appears to be a giant helmet that belongs to Yellow Jacket. We haven't seen Yellow Jacket since the first Ant-Man movie, and this could mean that in an alternate timeline, Yellow Jacket may have grown in size instead of shrinking before the TVA decided to prune him from existence. The first of two major comic book references that brought tons of joy to comic book fans and the internet is seen here during this shot where we see a downed helicopter with his name Thanos on it. Average viewers may have just recognized the name, but for people like myself, it was a great nod to the Thanos copter, which was seen in 1979's Spidey Super Stories number 39 as his preferred mode of transportation. It's safe to assume that getting to the chopper was futile when the TVA got a hold of him. Immediately after this reveal, we are treated to the second Easter egg that drove everybody crazy, and that's the reveal of Throg. Throg can be seen here trying his best to get to Mew Mew while he's trapped in a glass bottle. For those who may not be familiar, Throg is Thor but turned into frog form by the hands of Loki. You can see the jar labeled as T365, which serves as a reference to 1986's Thor number 365, in which this took place. Another fun scene in this episode is when the Lokis arrive in their hideout, which is a throwback to the classic bowling alleys of yesteryear, and also provides us with some cool Easter eggs. First, we see a box of Roxy wine, which is a throwback to the Superstore in a previous episode of Loki. Everybody partakes in this wine with the exception of Kid Loki. Instead, he's enjoying High C Ecto Cooler, which was a tie-in promotion that High C had with Ghostbusters in the 80s. Another great Easter egg can be seen right behind star Richard E. Grant, and that's an arcade cabinet of Polybius. Never heard of it? Well, for those fans of arcades and conspiracies and urban legends, it was rumored that Polybius was an arcade machine manufactured by the government as a psychology experiment that hypnotized players, causing intense psychoactive and addictive effects. These arcade machines were said to have always been visited by suspicious men in black for a certain time period before the machines fully vanished from arcades. It's very fitting to have such a machine now live in the void. Now, when Sylvie finally arrives in the void, we get treated to quick Easter eggs in succession. We see what could be an alternate version of the Golden Gate Bridge, a pizza delivery car that some say may be a nod to the Pizza Planet car from Toy Story, and a version of the Sphinx, which makes you wonder why the TVA deemed it necessary to prune. We finally get treated to an on-screen version of President Loki from the Vote Loki miniseries, along with tons of other variant Lokis. Soon after the big Loki scuffle, our Loki, along with Kid Loki and Future Loki, march onto Battle Alioth. When they do, they witness a huge battleship drop in from the sky with the name USS Eldridge on it. This is a nod to the real-life World War II battleship that was rumored to have been part of the Philadelphia experiment. The conspiracy behind this was that the ship was turned invisible, then teleported to New York before being transported to another dimension where they met aliens. I guess conspiracy theorists are somewhat right if they count Alioth as an alien. One of my favorite Easter eggs can easily be missed. However, in this quick panning shot, you can clearly see the license plate of the pizza delivery car. The letters here is a nod to famed comic book writer Mark Gruenwald, who served as a physical reference for Mobius, but also co-created Alioth in the 90s. Later on, when Sylvie and Loki agree to work on Sylvie's plan together, you see them approach a landscape that contains a downed version of Ronin's ship that was seen in Guardians of the Galaxy. Here, Kid Loki also presents our Loki with a golden sword that is a nod to the sword that he wields in the comic series Agent of Asgard, and could also be a reference to the mythical Norse weapon Lavatane, which was forged by Loki himself and is said to possess a burning blade. Flame on! During their approach, you see in front of Alioth a statue head that appears to have multiple faces on it. This could potentially be a huge Easter egg for the MCU, because this could be a reference to the Living Tribunal. A cosmic time-defying entity, the Living Tribunal is the protector of balance in the multiverse and one of the more powerful characters in Marvel. Could they have a role to play in what we're seeing here, or is this a foreshadowing of what is to come later on down the line? As we get closer to the finale of the episode, we see several scenes that feature what looks like a downed helicarrier that appears to possibly have a Hydra logo on it. Richard E. Grant steals the episode here when he conjures up his most amazing and last illusion, which is a full recreation of Asgard, and helps Loki and Sylvie enchant Alioth, forcing Alioth to clear a path to what people are speculating to be Kang's citadel, which is the base of his operations. You can also point out a silver streak in the background, which could possibly be the timeline itself as referenced in the first episode of Loki. Woo! Well, there you have it. Over 20 great Easter eggs in this episode of Loki that has me so hyped going into the final episode. What Easter eggs are your favorite? Which ones have I missed? How much more could we possibly see in the finale? Leave your comments in the comments section and let me know. Also, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe buttons if you haven't done so already. And as always, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.